Well, the US president has, as Connor said, been tweeting his prayers and condolences about the attack in Manhattan, but he is also dealing with the first charges against former campaign staff. The White House says investigations by Special Counsel Robert Mueller into alleged collusion with Russia are already coming to an end. The president has lashed out at one former advisor who has been charged for lying to FBI agents. George Papadopoulos is now cooperating with investigators. Meanwhile, Russia has waded in, saying there's no evidence it meddled in last year's election. Anne Barker reports.
Donald Trump and his senior press secretary have gone into furious damage control, trying to distance the White House from the former campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, who's admitted he lied about his contacts with Russia before last year's presidential election. Papadopoulos is the first person to plead guilty to charges brought by the special counsel Robert Mueller, who's investigating allegations of collusion between the Trump campaign team and Russian officials. He's now admitted he tried to broker a meeting between Donald Trump and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, though it was knocked back by more senior campaign officials. President Trump on Twitter has sought to diminish Papadopoulos' role on the campaign, tweeting,
"Few people know the young, low-level volunteer named George, who has already proven to be a liar."
The White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says Papadopoulos was acting entirely on his own.
Papadopoulos is an example of actually somebody doing the wrong thing while the president's campaign did the right thing. All of his emails were voluntarily provided to the special counsel by the campaign, and that is what led to the process and the place that we're in right now, was the campaign fully cooperating and helping with that. What Papadopoulos did was lie, and that's on him, not on the campaign, and we can't speak for that.
It's a far cry from Donald Trump's comments last year, soon after he hired Papadopoulos and called him an excellent guy. President Trump and the White House now say the charges against him and those against two other former campaign officials, Paul Manafort and Rick Gates, show no evidence of collusion between the campaign team and Russia. It's a claim backed by Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Without a single piece of proof, we are, as you know, being accused of meddling not only in the US election, but also in those in European states, he says. Recently, there was an allegation that Moscow decided what minister to appoint in South Africa. In general, there's no limit to fantasy. It's been revealed the two Russians at the heart of the allegations against George Papadopoulos are Joseph Mifsud, a director at the London Centre for International Law Practice, and Ivan Timofeev from a Moscow think tank with links to Russia's foreign ministry. Even so, Sergei Lavrov says there's no evidence the men did anything wrong. If the meeting was about Russian-American relations, I don't see anything illegitimate or illegal about it, he says. In principle, I'm now looking with scepticism and lack of interest at the new and continuous reports on how Donald Trump won the presidential elections. Mr. Lavrov says it's Ukraine that has questions to answer, and one Ukrainian MP, Serhiy Lashenko, agrees. The more actively Ukraine assists the US investigation, the smaller is the risk that the US administration will go for a broad agreement with Vladimir Putin, he says. Nevertheless, the charges against George Papadopoulos are bound to bring more grief for Donald Trump, especially given the former advisor is now cooperating with investigator Robert Mueller, whose own future has come into question among senators concerned he might face retaliation from President Trump. Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein says it would be a mistake to target Robert Mueller.
I do believe that the special counsel is as strongly supported as I have ever seen in my time in the Congress and in the Senate, and that it would be a big mistake to tamper with that. He has high respect. He's been a former director of the FBI for over 10 years.
Others, including Republican Senator Richard Burr, are confident Mueller can't be fired.
The Deputy Attorney General is the only one that can fire him. So the efforts that are out there are to circumvent the president firing the special counsel. He can't do that.
The White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, meanwhile, has told reporters that Robert Mueller's investigation is already coming to an end.
Why are you so confident that the investigation won't go on much longer?
Because we have confidence that it's going to come to a close in short time.
Though Ms. Sanders produced no evidence to back that claim.
Anne Barker reporting.